Welcome back to the Mariana Dalto Show. If you're a small business owner who has been dabbling with AI, maybe using ChatGPT for content, automating some tasks, trying out new tools, this episode is crucial for you because there's one aspect of AI that could either become your biggest competitive advantage or your most expensive mistake. And most entrepreneurs aren't even thinking about it. We're talking about ethical AI. And before you click away thinking this is going to be a very boring episode talking about compliance stuff, hear me out. This is about protecting your business, building unshakable customer trust, and actually moving faster than your competitors who are stuck cleaning up messes. Here's that you should know about. So 70% of consumers now prefer doing businesses with companies that they are transparent about how they use AI. And that means your customers are already making decisions based on whether they trust your AI practices, even if you haven't thought about it yet. And here's the kicker. A small business owner who have a massive advantage over big corporations when it comes to getting these right. And you can move faster, you can implement smarter, and build trust deeper than companies with 10 times your budget. So don't worry about being a small business owner or even an entrepreneur. This is going to really help you. So by the end of this show or this video, if you're watching that on YouTube, you'll have a simple 5-pillar framework to protect your business and turn AI into your secret weapon. Plus, I will show you why the scary stuff you're hearing about AI is actually creating opportunities for businesses to get ahead of it. So let's dive in. So let me give you 3 numbers that show why this matters to your bottom line right now. Number 1 is 70% of customers prefer companies with transparent AI practices. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being honest. When customers know you're using AI responsibly, they trust you more. And trust, is very important. That is why, why that's what people gets to buy from you, because they trust you and they trust you more instead of your competitors. Number 2 is that 70% of business executives see ethical AI as a reputation enhancer. Think about that. 3/4 of business leaders believe this directly impacts their brand. If you are competing against bigger companies, this is how you can punch above your weight class. And then this is very important here. So, and then number 3 is 15.7 trillion. What is that? So that is what experts project that AI will add to the global economy by 2023. And then for context, that's about half of the entire US GDP right now. The AI wave is here, and the businesses that ride it responsibly will be the ones still standing in 5 years. But here's what really matters for you as a small business owner. Companies are desperately looking for solutions. A recent survey found that 56% of organizations are actively seeking workshops and trainings on ethical AI. 55% are running events to figure it out, right? And that means your customers are already thinking about it. They are asking questions. They are worried. And if you're already figured that out, then you can, help, your business grow with this ethical AI as part of your trust in your services and in your business. So here's where it gets really good. You might think the big companies have entire legal teams and compliance department. How can I compete with this? But you are actually in a better position than them because first, you're agile when you're a small business owner, more so than if you're a Fortune 500 companies, that are scheduling meetings to schedule meetings that, to make decisions to implement tomorrow. You don't have 15 departments that need to get signed off on this stuff, right? You don't have legacy systems from the 1990s that need to be untangled. You can move fast. And that's the advantage as you as an entrepreneur or as a small business owner. Second, your entry costs are lower. AI tools that cost millions for enterprises. Now, like you can leverage AI tools for $20 to $200 a month, depending on what you're using. You can start implementing ethical practices today without breaking the bank. You are really not trying to retrofit systems. You are building it right from the start, and that's the goal. Number three is implementing it. The implementation should be simpler, right? You don't have a complex tech infrastructure with dozens of interconnected systems. Your processes are cleaner. That means you can implement safeguards and policies without the nightmare bigger companies face. So that's why I got another good advantage for being a small business owner. And then fourth, you can be regulation ready now. So regulations are coming. The NIST AI risk management framework is already providing guidelines here in the US. And then when regulations become mandatory, big companies will spend months or years adapting their complex systems. But you, as a business owner, you can be ready in weeks because you are less complex. And here's a quick note on the NIST AI risk management framework. And this is important. This NIST or NIST is the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and they released voluntary AI guidelines in 2023. It is not mandatory yet, but it shows where US regulations are headed, right? So the framework has 4 parts: govern, map, measure, and manage. Basically, they set up policies, your policies, right? Understand your risk, track your performance, and handle problems when they arise. And why should you care about this now? Because when your clients or partners ask you if you are following best practices, you want to say yes. And when regulations kick in, you will be already compliant while competitors are still scrambling. So what's the best part? It's free. You can go to the nist.gov, that website, and then search for AI risk management framework. And it's an actually readable, framework that you can kind of explore and see and kind of understand a little bit more on what is giving you, and then understand a little bit more and go deeper. So just leverage the information on that website to understand more. So this is your chance to be the business that customers trust before the regulations force everyone to catch up. So that's why I would recommend to start exploring and understanding a little bit more what's happening from a regulation standpoint. Okay, so now let's get practical with this. I'm gonna give you a 5-pillar framework that will protect your business and give you a competitive advantage. Then these aren't complicated, but they are straightforward actions that you can start implementing this week. So let me give you the 5, and then I will explain one by one. So the 5 pillars are risk assessment and management, transparency and explainability, data privacy and security, accountability and governance, and human-centered change management. So now let me break down all these 5 in plain English. So let's start with the first pillar, which is the risk assessment and management. This is about knowing what could go wrong before it goes wrong. Because fixing problems after they happen will cost about 10 times more than preventing them. So let me ask you something. If someone audited how you're using AI right now, what would they find? And here's what's happening with small business owners across the country right now. They are telling themselves, we barely use AI, just ChatGPT occasionally. But then you look at what they're actually doing, and then what's happening is they are uploading contracts with sensitive information for review. They are submitting client spreadsheets with personal data that they're still on those Excel files, sharing confidential business details, all without realizing they are creating massive risk exposure. And here's one example that really drives this home. A business leasing commercial space was using ChatGPT to review government contracts and uploading entire tenant spreadsheets with names, addresses, phone numbers, everything. When submitting this information to local authorities, this is literally what they had. Excuse me. So they weren't trying to be careless when they were doing that. They just didn't know that was even a risk in the first place. And so here's the question. Are you doing something similar without realizing it in your business with your own data? Because that is the thing. Most business owners aren't being reckless on purpose. They just don't realize that barely using AI can still create major data exposure if you're not careful about what you upload on the large language models. And here's what risk assessment looks like for you. Before you upload any data to any AI tool, you need to ask yourself, is there personal information here that I'm going to upload, that I'm planning to upload? Any customer data, any financial information? Before you implement any AI solution, you need to ask yourself, what happens if this gets it, if this gets it wrong? What's the worst scenario that could happen with, if you ended up using this AI solution, something goes wrong? And then check your AI tool settings. Most platforms like ChatGPT have settings to control data usage. I don't know if you have looked at yours, but you don't need, a PhD in data science for this kind of stuff. You just need to ask 3 questions before you use AI. One is, what data am I sharing with the AI tool? Where is it going? And what could go wrong? And that's risk assessment in a nutshell. Okay? Now, let's move to pillar number 2, which is transparency and explainability. This pillar is simple. Be honest about when and how you're using AI. Your customers are savvy. They know AI exists. They know businesses are using it. What they want to know is, that you are using it responsibly and you are not hiding it from them. And here's what it looks like in practice. If you're using AI to write your marketing emails, just say so. Add a line that says, this content was created with AI assistance and reviewed by our team. If you're using AI to analyze customer data for better service, tell people we use AI tools to understand how we can serve you better, and here's how we protect your information. If you're using AI chatbots on your website, make it obvious. People appreciate knowing that they are talking to AI versus a human team member. And here's what matters. Studies show that customers are actually more forgiving of mistakes when they know AI was involved and that a human reviewed the data. They don't expect perfection, but they do expect honesty. So think about it from your customer's perspective. Would you rather do business with a company that says we use cutting edge AI to serve you better? And here's how we make it sure it's done right, or a company that is secretive about it? And transparency, you know this, but I will bring it up. Transparency builds trust. trust builds loyalty, and loyalty builds revenue. So this is important. I'm going to say that again and write it down. Transparency builds trust, trust builds loyalty, and loyalty builds revenue. Okay? Now let's move to pillar number 3, which is about data privacy and security. And here's an analogy. Data is like fuel for AI. And if you put the wrong fuel in your car, like, putting diesel in a gasoline engine, you're going to have expensive problems. So for small business owners, data privacy isn't just about compliance. It's about not accidentally destroying your business with one careless mistake. And here are the non-negotiables. Audit your data sources. If you're using AI tools, where is that data coming from? If you are paying for a tool, ask the vendor, where does your training data come from? How do you protect my information? Here's the control access. Not everyone in your business needs access to everything. Your marketing person doesn't need to have access to financial records. Your bookkeeper doesn't need customer service data, for example. So give people in your company access to the only data that they need for their job. And how can you anonymize data? Well, before you upload customer information anywhere, strict out identifying details about those customers. You can analyze patterns without knowing that is specifically, John Smith from Austin, right? So if you can anonymize, I can't even say this word, anonymize data, basically making data anonymous, then that's going to help you to be protective. Now, you can check your settings. Every AI tool has privacy settings. Like if you go to ChatGPT, has options to opt out of training the model. And most business softwares, they have those kind of like control of data sharing. And then the question is, have you actually looked at yours, and have you updated those settings in your tool to make sure that you're protecting the data that you put in the system? Here's a simple test. Pull out your phone right now and think about the AI tools your business uses. Could you explain to a customer exactly how their data is protected? If not, that is a homework for this week and something that you really need to explore and figure out how you get clarity on how to get this done. Okay, now let's move to pillar number 4, which is accountability and governance. This sounds very fancy, but it's really simple. Someone in your business needs to own this, and that someone is probably you. But here's your governance framework in 3 steps. Okay. So let's go to step number 1, define what matters to you. What does fairness means for your business? What does transparency means for your business? What does responsible use mean? And write that down. It doesn't need to be fancy. It's just in 1 page is enough, just having clarity on those questions. Okay, so let me repeat those. What does fairness mean for your business? What does transparency mean? And then what does responsible use mean? Okay. Step number 2, create simple rules. Who approves new AI tools before start using them? What data can and cannot be uploaded to AI? And what happens if something goes wrong? And then step number 3, you want to document your process. When you are reviewing how your business operates, ask, if this process fails, what's our backup plan? If there's a data issue, who will handle it? So write that down so then you have a process in place. And I'm not talking making, a report of 5-page document about this. I'm talking about getting a one simple page written down on how you will use AI, how responsible you are, and here's what we would do if a problem will occur. That's why the simpler you make it, and it's very straightforward, easier for everyone to review, understand, and then leverage that document. That's governance for a small business, simple, clear, and actionable. Okay, so now let's move to pillar number 5, human-centered change management. Here's a stat that should scare you a little bit. 70% of businesses that try to implement new technology fail. Not because the technology doesn't work, but because their people don't adopt it. And here's the flip side of this. Businesses that focus on change management see 143% better return on investment. And here's what this means to you, and for your business. One is you want to involve your team early in the process using AI. Don't just announce, hey, we're using AI now in the business. Explain why you're using AI. Show them how it makes their jobs easier, not scarier. The second point is you want to address the fear for your team. Your team might be worried about how AI could replace them. So be honest. AI handles the repetitive stuff so you can focus on what actually requires your expertise and creativity. So give them that clarity so then they know that AI is there to assist them, not to replace them. The third point is you want to really train your people. Don't just hand some AI tool and say, hey, figure it out. You want to show them how to use it, give them time to learn it, and answer their questions. And let me give you a real example on this one. A major tech company invested millions in AI for healthcare recommendations. So doctors refused to use it because they weren't consulted in the development in the beginning, right? Meanwhile, another company that started using AI to launch AI, use it as an assistant, and then they ended up achieving 70% adoption because they train users first to use this AI assistant. So where's the lesson between the first company that it was investing in AI for healthcare, but the doctors didn't really adapt it very well, and the second company where they really launched it and with their teams and train them first, right? The lesson is technology works when people trust it. People trust it when they understand it and when they're part of the process. And it is a process for everyone to learn AI, to understand how to work with these tools, right? So if you're a solopreneur, this also applies to you. Just think about your relationship with the AI tools you're using today. Do you actually understand them? Or you're just hoping for the best when you're playing with the tools here and there? Okay, so now let's talk about what's keeping people up at night when it comes to AI. Because here's my take. Everyone of this risk is actually an opportunity for small businesses that handle them well. So let me talk about this risk one by one. Number one risk is shadow AI. And this is when your employees are using AI tools you don't know about. Maybe your assistant he or she is using ChatGPT for customer emails. Maybe your bookkeeper is using AI for expense reports. They're trying to be efficient, but they might be exposing company data without realizing it. So what's your opportunity as a business owner? You need to get ahead of it. Have a conversation with your team. What AI tools are you using? Let's figure out how to use them safely. Create a list of approved tools with settings configured properly so then your company's safe. Make it easy for people to use AI the right way instead of hiding it. That's number one. The second risk is the AI hallucinations. AI makes stuff up all the time. It sounds very confident, but it's wrong. So we have seen it. If you're using ChatGPT or any other large language models, they are citing sources that they don't exist, giving outdated information, creating facts out of thin air. So you really need to validate what you're getting from the large language models. So again, the opportunity is make a verification part of the process using AI. If AI drafts something, a human needs to review it. If AI analyzes data, someone has to check the logic. You become known as the business that uses AI but doesn't blindly trust it. That is actually your selling point when leveraging these tools. And then risk number 3 is changing regulations. So the rules are still being written. I mentioned about the NIST or the NIST AI risk management framework that gives guidelines, but enforcement is coming. So things will change. So you need to be ready for that. So the opportunity as a business owner is to build your own internal framework now based on your values and your business goals. Then align it with regulations as they develop. And when the regulations hit, you are already compliant while competitors are still scrambling trying to figure that out. So that way your business is ready for success. Okay. Let's move on to risk number 4, which is data quality issues. And this is probably not new news, but garbage in is garbage out. If your data is messy, biased, or incomplete, AI will just amplify those problems. So the big opportunity here is this forces you finally to clean up your data, something you should be doing anyway. But better data means better decisions, AI or not. That's not really just because we're using AI. So plus, you can talk to customers about your commitment to data quality and accuracy, and that's going to really give also trust to your business. So do you see the pattern here? Every risk is actually pushing you to run a better, more trustworthy, more efficient business. Okay, so hopefully this, you're bought in. You see why really this matters. Now, what do you actually do, right? So here's your action plan for this week. Action number 1, audit your current AI use. Make a list. What AI tools are you using in your business? Is it ChatGPT? Is it Jasper? Is it Grammarly? AI features in your CRM? Write them all down. What are you using today? Audit your AI tools. Your action number 2, check the settings on those tools. Go into each tool and look at the privacy and data settings. Most tools will let you opt out of using your data training for training. So turn that on if you're sharing any business information. So you're not sharing with the model. And then action number 3, have the conversation with your team. If you have employees, ask them, what AI tools are you using to do your job today? No judgment, just learn what they're leveraging in order to be more efficient in the things that they're doing. You want to know so you can help them use them safely. And then action number 4, create your one-page policy and answer these questions. How do we use AI in our business? What data can we share with AI tools? What must be reviewed by a human? And who do we contact if something seems to be wrong? That's it. It's a one page with answering all these questions. Keep it very simple. Action number 5, tell your customers. Add a line to your website or marketing that says, we use AI responsibly to serve you better. Brief, honest, confidence building. This is what it does. Okay, here's what you can say to customers when they ask about this. So you can say, yes, we use AI for, and then you just specify the purpose why you use AI. And here's how we protect your information. And then you do a brief explanation as how you're protecting the information. And everything is reviewed by our team before it goes out. So we're committed to using technology responsibly because your trust matters to us. So if you have a statement like that, you make it simple, you're honest, and this is effective. Okay, to wrap this up with this big picture, I wanted to say AI isn't going away. Regulations are coming whether you're ready or not. But a small business owner, as a small business owner, you have something the big companies don't, which is agility, right? You can really move fast on this. You can implement these 5 pillars, which is risk management, transparency, data privacy, accountability, and change management. And you can implement those faster, more effectively than businesses that has 10 times your budget. So this is a good benefit for you as a small business owner. The businesses that will dominate the next decade aren't the ones with the most AI. They are the ones that will use AI responsibly, build customer trust, and move quickly, while others are stuck in analysis paralysis. So that means you can be that business, the one that customer trust. You can be the one who's ready with when regulations will hit in, right? You can be the entrepreneur who turn AI ethics from checkbox into a competitive weapon because you're ready, because you already know what you're doing and you have clarity. So start this week, pick one pillar that that I described today, take action, build from there. If you find this valuable, please share this episode to anyone that you know, any entrepreneur or business owner who really could benefit from this type of information. So it will really help them be prepared for what's to come. Okay. And if you enjoy this episode, drop a comment, ask any questions. And I would like to kind of know which of these 5 pillars are you planning to implement first. And remember, your customers are already judging you on this. Make sure they like what they see. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.